Welcome to Vinci's Discourse, where the minds of today's most innovative entrepreneurs are unveiled and explored. And my name is Kyle Campbell, your guide on this journey into the depths of the entrepreneurial psyche. So sit back, relax, and get ready to dive into the minds of the greats. This is Vinci's Discourse. All right, brother, let's get into it. So, Rob and Alex, dude, pleasure to have you here, man. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do? Who do you do it for?
I am the co-founder of High Level. So we are a full CRM platform. We serve primarily to marketing agencies and serve about 60,000 customers, which represents about 400,000 small businesses around the world.
Wow, man, right on. So what do you do for them? Like exactly, if we were to get into it, for somebody who doesn't know.
It- I have two other partners, and we have we kind of call it a co-founder circle, or a co-founder office, and we kind of all kind of handle different parts of the businesses, but at the end of the day, we kind of jump on what if we're tied up, another co-founder jumps on it. Primarily my day kind of starts with hanging out on the product side of things. So we work with our product managers, really understand the roadmap, make sure that the product is good. Then we'll get on with some, other leaders on the team, making sure from operations perspective, all teams are functioning. We've grown to a team of about 800 people. So managing teams around the world and being 24/7 is definitely fun and keeps us busy. And then the second half of the day, primarily just on with customers. We're quite a bit in our Facebook group and emails and stuff like that. So primarily have a Zoom room and customers just jump in and helping them figure out what's going on and understanding what issues and what they're trying to do. Honestly, that's my day.
Right on, brother. How'd you get into it, man? I'm so curious because what you're doing is fascinating. I mean, it's killer, and I'm serious. Like, how did you get into it? How does one become a Robin Alex? How'd you get into the position you're in now?
Started, years ago, probably close to 15 years ago, doing consulting, and then, eventually turned into a marketing agency. And as a marketing agency, we started out doing a lot of web development and we pick up projects. And the challenge there is it's feast and famine. You pick up a project, you're working quite a bit, and then you get scope creep and things like that. And then once the project is done, you're done with the customer. And then it's a fight to pick up another customer. And what I immediately learned was you need to get as close as you can to the revenue line of a business. If you're able to help them generate more revenue, they're going to partner with you and want you to stay on longer there. So from there, we primarily focused on consulting with sales teams and really helping at top of funnel for a lot of small businesses. And that's where we got really heavy into doing stuff like with Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO, things of that nature. Um, and we were helping many businesses grow, and built the team up to about 20-25 people around the world. But the challenge that we always ran into is as a service-based company, you're providing a lot of services, but most businesses have a share a wallet issue. They can only spend so much money in a month, and if you're not delivering results, there's a fundamental problem there, and they ultimately fire you. And the problem that we ran into is we would come in saying, hey, we can help your business grow by providing you more leads and contacts into your business. And businesses think that is the way to grow. But ultimately, the challenge is we did a great job in providing a spreadsheet of leads or automations to hand it to your email and things like that. But the business didn't know what to do with it. They weren't making calls. They
Right.
weren't leveraging those databases. And so
Mhm.
what ultimately happened was they would say, I don't know what to do with this. This is not what I wanted. I wanted ultimately more appointments or more ultimately more dollars in my pocket. You as the marketing agency is supposed to do that. More marketing equals more dollars. You didn't tell me more work on my side. And so there's a fundamental disconnect there. So um we actually mapped out on our whiteboard in our office, me and my team, of like what a software could do from A to Z, from a workflow perspective. And we definitely tabled it. We were too busy helping customers. And interestingly enough, I had a customer of mine reach out to me saying, hey, there's these two guys, they're trying to launch a new software. Don't know exactly what it is or how it's going to work in my business, but they need access to certain things. Can you talk to them and help them get set up? So got on a call, great individuals, and we got everything set up. And I basically was like, hey, well, I have you here. I have this other software idea. I'd love for you guys to see it. And they gave me an interesting response saying, well, this is interesting. Give us a couple of days and we'll call you back. And lucky for me, they called me back a couple of days later, and they actually had mocked up, the software to doing a couple of these new items. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. Let me take it to my customers and see how we do. and took it to one immediate success. From there, let's roll it out to the rest of our customers, and we rolled out to, like 80 other customers, and immediate success all over the board. And I was just so impressed with what it was doing. I was just like, hey, can I send it to other agencies that I know? Just
Ah,
because I know they're running the same problem. And we reached out to about 20 of them, and 13 of them, everyone says yes, of course, but 13 of them actually took it seriously and went deep into the product. And from there, it grew like wildfire. And then, me and the other two developers ended up saying, hey, let's join together and take over the world. And so from there, we retuned the business, and just started getting it to more people. And here we are, we're hitting our 6th year now, and try and take over the world.
take over the world, baby. I love it. Yeah. It's like like that Austin Powers quote. It's like I'm Mr. Evil, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and what was fun about this whole journey is like there was no predictability. We weren't trying to say, we're gonna be this massive company. We were just like, hey, we're in the trenches. Let's all join this party together and solve as many problems as we can.
No shit, man. So yes, yeah, I'm having an interesting situation right now where my clients are in a similar situation to where your clients were with my agency, where I'm bringing them leads, but they're not able to close the leads a lot of the time. I'm actually booking them a lot of appointments. Like one client, 100 appointments in the first week of doing business, and she closed a 0% closing rate on the 100 appointments that we booked her. And they're qualified leads. We ran them through a funnel that was, qualifying them. There's a total of about 150. 100 of them were qualified enough to get on the phone with her, and she closed 0 of them, man. And it pisses me off because we're bringing them results, but they're not able to convert those results into actual dollars. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's a fascinating
and
situation.
I've dealt with many of those situations, and then you start having to dive deep into it, right? So if these are phone call
Yeah,
conversations, you need a system to record the calls, and then you have to start analyzing the calls, because they're probably the best. Your customer is probably the best at doing the delivery of service. They're not the best at
right,
sales. And you have
right.
to figure out a way to either bridge that gap and really coaching them up, or let them do their first bat at it. And then can you build automations and stuff after the fact of like, hey, I know you didn't book then. Can you shoot them a text saying, hey, are you still thinking about it? Can we get you on a follow-up call? Or would you
Yes,
like to,
yes.
do discounts and stuff like that, just to work around the business owner? Because, as you know, business owners are the best at the delivery, but they're also the crux in growing their business. And so you either have to acknowledge that and work around it, or ultimately move on because it's just not going to work.
Yeah, there's not much you can do, right? I mean, we're doing all we can, and we've got the automation set up for the follow-ups, and yeah, still having a hard time with that. Depends on the client, right? But at the end of the day, yeah, you're seeming like you're into the automation side of things a lot. What's your primary focus with your business right now? Like, if I were to help you with something, or just hypothetically, where would we be helping you in terms of where we want to bring this thing?
Yeah, I mean, the way that we look at it is we can really help any business from a capture, nurture, close perspective. So
Okay.
at the top of the funnel, you need a way to capture leads. Whether you're using Facebook ads, Google ads, or whatever. If you're using Facebook ads and you do lead ads, well, those contacts need to go somewhere. And or if you need a landing page, we have a landing page builder and form builder and things like that. So we can handle that. And once it comes into the system, it's a full CRM. So you see all the contacts and stuff. From a nurture perspective, this is where we have automations. And so from an automations perspective, you have everything from A to Z. You can do, text messaging, emailing, Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs, WhatsApp, name it. I mean, we have every channel possible, but making sure that you can create an automation and we also have AI built into it. So you can do conversation AI.
Nice.
And
Nice.
with that, you can basically have a conversation with an individual and create it so it's all hands off, so much so that you can get people to book an appointment. So that'd be the nurture side of things. And then once someone, comes in for that appointment, and oh, and by the way, when they book that calendar appointment, you need to do more automations to making sure that they show up. So you want to do
Yeah,
calendar
I
reminders and
noticed
stuff
that.
like that.
I noticed that with your automation, dude, because I got
Yeah,
like 6 emails saying, "Oh, your
yeah,
appointment's coming up. Your appointment's coming up," and nobody else
yeah,
does
and
that. I find. So yeah,
yeah,
man. I
and I
guess
I have a
appreciate your practice.
98% show up rate, right? So,
Shit.
uh,
Yeah. Huh.
so it's the little things like that that go a long way. And then from a close perspective, we handle that stuff too. So, can't do much on the call. We're not at that point from a tech perspective, but after the
Yeah.
call, right, you can, send invoices, you can send proposals, send receive payments. You can send a review request. You can trigger it out to other systems because many businesses may have another POS system or an EMR system, some other database of how they keep all their information. So you can do all sorts of cool things there. So, for us, it's that capture, nurture, close. And one of the other pieces that I also look at in helping businesses is the engage component. So with engage is basically saying you have a history of clientele. Well, if you bring that into a system, when was the last time you spoke to them, right? And you can re-engage them, and it's easier to do business with someone that you've already done business with. They already had
Yeah,
trust and confidence in you. So if you just
yeah.
reach out to them saying you have a new or revisit again, it can go a long way, and you can bring in a lot of business there just on that engagement concept as well.
No shit, man. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people miss out on that because they're always trying to focus on new clients, new clients. It's the
Yeah,
exciting, right? But yeah, same thing with us. It's like we get most of our revenue from the existing clients, and by repurposing and trying to find more ways to provide service to them. So, dude, I'm so curious. Let's say I were to be interested in signing up with your services. Where would we start in terms of what would you do with a client when they first got involved with you guys? And then we can walk through sort of that process.
yeah. So when a customer signs up, automatically you're put on a 14-day trial. And we do a ton of outbound messaging and emailing. Some of it's AI delivered. But one of the things that we really focus on is the humanistic side. So we've actually created a 24/7 Zoom room. And with the Zoom room, it actually is staffed. We have about 100 people 24/7 in there, along with the concierge. So you
Wow.
come in, and we modeled it after the Apple Store, the Verizon Store, where you come in, hey, I'm here. I want to learn more about the product. You're put on a queue. You just get to hang out, and they'll move you into a breakout room. And we built this whole model, which is really cool. So much so that Zoom actually created a product around it, and we were actually the test case.
No
Um,
kidding.
but
Wow.
so we get people in there, and then we do a full exposure demo on the product, and we really we tailor it based on questions that we ask. What kind of business do you have? Do you have customers? What industry? And then they'll tailor the demo, and then at the end of it, we have about a 80% close rate there. And the
No
idea is,
shit.
yeah,
Huh.
so it's really high. Just from that component, and the way that we get that is twofold. One is live on the call, but then because it's a demo, they'll do follow up as well. So we can pick up as call it kind of a second order conversion as well, just from that engagement. But what we do find is holistically, if enough people are able to talk to a human being, the conversion rate is significantly higher than people trying to come in through an automated method. Because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, we are humans and we like the human to human connection. And for us, our product is so vast that, I think naturally speaking, if you go into a software, you think that it's self-serving, you can solve it yourself. And for us, we acknowledge that there is that mindset, but because our product is so challenging, because we could do so much, it is nice to just be able to talk to someone and help connect the dots, and it actually accelerates your success rate on the platform as well.
Yeah, no shit, man. So you're finding that you use the automation to get people into the human to human connection. So you're not replacing human to human connection, you're augmenting it with the automation to bring people to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're finding that people are taking you up on the Zoom room, that people are
Oh,
getting,
100%. Yeah.
no kidding,
Yeah.
eh? Man,
Yeah.
that's a genius idea, dude. You modeled it after the Verizon and Apple stores. It's fascinating. How did you come up with that idea?
I mean, honestly, just go into the Apple store, right?
Oh
It's
shit.
when you have a problem, you just walk in and they have someone at the front holding the iPad saying, "Hey, what's
Dude.
your name?" Well, why don't you go wait over there, by this table, and I'll have Sally come by in a couple of minutes. She's wrapping up with another customer. So you're just waiting there, right? Just and then looking around or, working on something else on your phone. And then all of a sudden this individual comes up to you and helps you out. So we just said, well, why can't we follow that model instead of trying to do book calls or make it, very frustrating because you're trying to connect two people at the same time. So
Yeah,
we're always
right.
on your schedule. You just give us a few minutes and we'll get someone to talk to you.
Man, freaking brilliant, dude. Where my mind goes with that is when people are waiting in the Apple store, they're like looking around, they're seeing the products, and I'm wondering if you could put some sort of waiting room video or webinar where
Yeah,
as they're
exactly.
waiting, you got an
Yeah,
advertisement there. So they
and we do
have
have that. Yeah.
the same Apple store experience, right? You do have
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So when you go into the Zoom room, not only is there a video playing, a concierge is talking to you, and then we also have a live queue, so you can kind of see the live update
Huh.
on, where you're at when you're up next.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast, and I want to let you know that I've got a free book that you can get if you want to tap into more of these resources. And you can get that for free at kylesbook.com. Back to the podcast. Freaking brilliant, dude. And what about the demo that you got an 80% close ratio going through that? So, man, like, what's the demo that you're walking people through?
It's just a full exposure demo of the product. So, we go through all the value prop features that we have in it, and really, make sure that we get you to a point of success.
Okay, sweet, man. What about the value propositions that you're bringing people through? Like, what are some of the value props that you talk about in that demo?
Yeah, I mean, coming back to the capture, nurture, close, and
Yeah,
engage, but
yeah.
of course, there's those concepts, but you have to find tailor it to the person's business niche, industry, geography. So really, it's just asking those questions and then being able to tailor the capture, nurture code to their business because everyone thinks about it a little bit differently.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Huh. It's interesting, dude. It's such a fascinating way that you put that together, man. It's like, fuck. A lot of people don't think about that. And you modeled something that's from a real life experience to an online digital realm where you can model the beauty of walking into an Apple store online. Dude, it's brilliant. I love it. I'm trying to think about how you can incorporate that into your clients' businesses if you were to because where I'm coming from is we run an AI agency. That's one of our companies. And one of the things that we do is we run customer service for our clients using AI. We'll train the AI up based on everything that they've ever written or said or have online. And essentially it becomes a digital copy of them like you guys do, right? And so I'm thinking that's an interesting way of bringing people to this sort of video conferencing instead of having it replace it. Because that's a big crux, I think, that you've mastered there is instead of replacing it you're using that automation to bring people to it. It's fascinating, dude. Huh. I feel like a lot of people need to tap into something like that instead of trying to replace the human to human connection, bring people to it with
Well,
automation.
yeah, I mean, I think that's this interesting thing, mostly on the online space. It's this quick move to trying to remove humans.
Right.
But I think it's a slow burn, and you have to meet people where they're at if you want to make any conversion or make any dollars today. People are not used to talking to a robot. People are not used to talking to AI. It doesn't matter how good it is. People are just not used to it. So either you have to master it at a level where they just can't experience it, or just don't realize what they're talking to. But that takes
Mm.
time.
Ah,
And
see, that'd be interesting. Yeah. We're
you,
not
you
quite
know,
there yet. Almost, but not quite. Yeah.
I honestly think that we're way far off. From the perspective of
Hmm.
can you actually have a human to human conversation like this with with a
With
bot, with an
yeah.
AI,
Yeah.
experience? And I think that's a big gap that we just can't overcome yet. And it takes time to build that. And at some point we will be there. But two things have to happen. One, in the meantime, sales has to occur because you can't wait. And then two, not only will the technology have to catch up, and when it does, which will be shorter than we think, us as humans have to be in a world where we're accepting of it, right?
Ah,
So if you
man.
think pre-open API, open AI,
Right.
the world was not used to letting a bot or AI help you. But until it
True.
became mainstream, everyone is now like, yeah, throw it into AI, we're good, right? So I
You're
think
seeing that
it takes
that's where
time.
the future is going, where the people will start to be upset, accepting of it, and being like, okay, look at this. That's the cool part, man. If you don't know that it's a bot you're talking to, then you'd be able to have that conversation with it as though you were talking with a human. You'd have that digital avatar of a person in your Zoom room that you run 24/7 without having to have the staff that goes into it. And on top of that, the AI would know exactly what to say because they've been able to model millions of conversations and say, hey, this worked, this didn't, this worked, this didn't, and have those A/B tests go through millions of variations and have a masterful salesperson at the end of the day that you'd be able to get on the call and say, hey, look at this is what I need to say to get this person to convert right now. And they can do a psychoanalysis on that individual based on everything they've read online, everything they've ever written, and their social medias, and come up with a prognostic report or a predictive analysis of what will make this person convert. I think that's where the future of sales is going. Being able to analyze people's online digital presences and come up with a prognostication of what somebody is most likely to convert based on what we need to say to them. What do you think about that, man?
Yeah, no, I think there is it takes time to have that holistic picture actually implemented
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
sales side. And it's a trickier beast there. And so for us, we're looking at how can we solve the world today, not while we also are tabling stuff for the
Right,
future. It's
right.
what can we do today? And that's how we are very humanistic. Now, on other aspects of the business, when you think about support and stuff like that, I think we have more leeway in testing out things. And so we've implemented AI and we're training models internally. I mean, we have a huge dev team. I mean, I think we're
Nice.
close to 300 people on our dev side. And so we're building a lot of models and things like that. So when people come to support, the way that we look at it is, can our bots actually take the first crack at a support request and
Mm,
try to solve it? And very similar, we've trained models going to our help articles, just our knowledge base, internal and external, and creating models around it. And we're watching the efficacy of it. But right now, we're also like, okay, after the first bat, go ahead and trigger to a human, if it doesn't resolve. And so over time, the idea is the bot will get better, and then we won't have to backfill as many resources over time. I mean, our support team is close to 300 people, so we won't have to hire as many as we have over time, just because the bot will get better there.
yeah. So right now you don't have it to the point where it's you can talk to the AI, but you don't realize that you're talking to an AI. They know that it's a bot they're talking to as of now. And you
Yeah, yeah,
see,
we are upfront about it, and even from a FTC perspective, they're very clear with bots
right.
that if you're trying to emulate as a human, but you're not representing that it's not a human, there potentially will be problems. And so instead of trying to work around that and make sure that we're trying to be sneaky and all that, we just said it's not worth the fight. Let's just be upfront, and so people know that they're talking to a bot. But if you acknowledge it, and that's the only path that you have, and it works, I don't think there's an issue there.
Yeah, no. Where the issue becomes is how the FTC will be able to monitor who's an AI, who's not, or what use cases we're able to use AI without telling people that it's an AI. For example, we're using AI to write books, to write sales letters. Do we have to tell people that it's an AI that's writing the sales letter that they're being persuaded by?
Uh, I mean, I don't know the answer, but like when you talk
Right,
about books
right,
and things like that, I think the biggest concern is, how good is the material going to be that you can't tell that it was actually AI that generated it. And I
right,
think, they have these systems that are now reading it, and they could tell, based on heuristics. It doesn't matter how well you train the AI, that they could still tell if it was generated from OpenAI or something like that. And it comes back to the old school plagiarism generators. You could put in
right,
anything
right.
right now and they can tell. So I think, you know, how are people going to work around that? And it's all about quality at the end of the day, not so much quantity. And I think that's the problem with AI in the today world. It's generating
Mm,
so much content and it's just regurgitating a lot of content. Sure, you can spin it and try to make it slightly better, but
yeah.
the question is, how is the quality? And I've yet to say, wow, the AI book is the best book that was ever written.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding, man. See, it's close. It's maybe not close to the best book ever written yet, but we're getting up there, man, to the point where these detectors can't tell that our writing is
Uh,
written by AI
well, yeah, yeah. So you'll be able to overcome that,
so far.
but yeah, but where's the quality,
The
right? You
quality
still
is
haven't told me. Yeah, I
it's
mean,
good, man. We got clients paying 5K for and maybe 5K isn't a lot for a ghostwritten book, obviously, but still they're paying 5K for a book and they're ecstatic by it. In fact, one dude even said that he cried reading the way that his AI told the story of how he got started with his business. He
yeah,
cried, man.
and until there's more stories about it, and until there's an actual New York bestseller that was actually written by AI, and
Mm.
turns into an award-winning book, and someone admits that it was written by AI, that's the other
Ah,
piece,
true. Yeah, yeah,
right?
true.
It's not there yet.
Might be a tall order, man. Imagine you just got a New York Times bestseller and you're like, oh fuck, this was written by AI. I don't know if I should tell anybody. That'd be
Right,
an
right.
interesting predicament to be in.
And until it's at that point, it's not going to be,
Right.
I'm still on the side of it's quantity over quality. Because yes, if I were to pay for a book to be written, I'm going to have an emotional attachment to that because I paid for it. And of
Right.
course, I want it to be a success. But what I'm talking about is that, when it's at mass, that's when it becomes a real thing and almost, kind of a scary thing on what's created by a human versus what's created by technology.
Yeah, no kidding, man. It does become a scary thing. Another interesting thing is you can actually write the book in real time or the webinar or the sales letter in real time for that individual. So imagine a
Yeah,
webinar that's being written as it's being presented, five
yeah,
seconds ahead
100%.
where it's being presented by voice with slides and everything. That's where I see the future of it going, man. I'm so excited for that because it can
Yeah.
model a webinar that's made $1 million or $100 million over the last 15, 20 years and say, hey, look at this all worked. And then we can kind of come up with a conglomerate of all of these webinars and bring it to the future of having that being generated in real time. Dude, what are some of the other things that you're using AI for with your clients?
A lot of it is with on the chat side of things. I think
Yeah,
that's where most small businesses struggle is
right.
lead to speed or speed to lead, and we're able to backfill that with AI. We've implemented many other places, from a content generation component, so writing blogs, writing, building landing pages and things like that. We're getting into a world where you'll be able to create automations and workflows leveraging AI.
Yeah.
And so, we've embedded it in so many different places on the generative side, as well as on the image creation side. So you can actually create AI-driven images as needed as you're, creating content, whether it's social media posting that we have or, building landing pages and you need custom images. All of that's available to you today.
Now, how do you know what AI to use in a company? Like, let's say I signed up with you. How do you know what AI would be right for my company?
Well, we create our own algorithms to where we leverage, a little bit of Bard, Anthropic, a little bit of OpenAI, of course. We continuously test which model makes the most sense for the activity that you're doing because some work better than others. And we have a team of about, I think, 20 people who, their whole job is to make sure that the models are, hitting at a high percentage. The effectiveness of it is there as well as cost. Um, we want to make sure that it's reasonable and effective at the same time.
All right, man. So how'd you get up to the team that you're at? Because you keep saying, I got 300 people in the customer service department. I got 300 developers that are working for us. Dude, how the hell did you get up to that level? How did
We have
walk me through that process, man? I mean, shit. You're at a level that not a lot of people are able to accomplish. So huge props for that,
yeah,
man. But how the hell did you
yeah,
get
no,
there?
it's been fun. We have a great recruiting team. We have a model of it's not about where you were born. It's about, skill set. And so we scour many
Nice.
different countries all over the world, and we just want the best talent possible and pay top of market where we can.
Love it.
But it all comes down to our recruiting team. That was, one of our most important hires,
Mm.
making sure that we can have top talented recruiters who actually know how to scour and find top talented individuals who can come onto the team and actually provide value. And it's definitely a challenge. I mean, it's when you're bringing this many people on consistently, it's you'll have people that just don't meet the culture and things like that. But having processes and systems there, from a people operations side is super important, and that was a big initiative on our team and a huge important part in how we've been growing.
No kidding, man. Yeah, it's sort of like a meta hire. You had to hire somebody who would know how to hire others. So you got
Yeah,
that
exactly.
the meta, right? It's
Yeah.
interesting, dude. Hell, dude. I mean, how the hell do you let's say that how do you know what services to employ for a company? That's what I'm wondering is if I were to sign up with you, how do you know what services would be the right for my company? What are some of the questions that you ask folks that lead you to know what AI or what automation to employ?
Yeah, well, for us, a lot of people don't come with us with a blank slate in the perspective of, I don't know why I'm here,
Right.
right?
Okay, fair
People,
enough. Interesting.
people come in with a want, and typically when they're out shopping for new software, they have, generally speaking, they use some sort of technology today. What they're trying to do is what I call the plus one. They're trying to do one more thing that they couldn't do before, which is like, I
Mm,
do all this stuff, I just need to do this one other feature. Can I do that
mm.
here? So we focus on that first, and then because we have that, the the agency or the business owner kind of looks at it, it's like, huh, okay, not only can I do that, all the other stuff that I'm using 5, 6, 12 other tools over here, I can actually migrate all that in, and now it's all in one place. So that's the
Ah,
way that we approach it and look at it. So it's actually not as difficult as you think because people are just kind of telling us, I need to solve this problem. And our goal is to help them get to that point of success in solving it.
you're very Steve Jobs like, dude. You got the unification going on. You're trying to bring a conglomerate of processes that are working separately into a unified model that's one, the same way that Steve
It,
would have gone about integrating software and hardware
it
together. You know, it's
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to compare myself to Steve Jobs by any means, but I do think, from what we do every day is, we're engineers, on our team, and we love building. And so if there's solution, or if there's problems that's out there, we're gonna find a solution. And a lot of it is just building more technology.
and you love that shit, eh?
Yeah.
I love it, man. You can feel the passion coming off you, man. So dude, what about the because what you're up to is amazing, dude. Hmm. What questions am I not asking that I should be asking in terms of giving an entrepreneur watching the most value for their time here? If they were to think about incorporating AI into their companies, what would be the best question that I could ask you?
From an AI perspective, I think it's just starting to test out things live immediately. I think that's super important. Um,
Mm,
but depending on what kind of business that you have and you're thinking about it, just be cautious and going full tilt with AI out the gate. You want to baby your
mm.
way into it because you're basically risking normal day-to-day business activity that got you to that position today.
Interesting, right? So you're not saying to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You're not looking to replace, you're looking to augment. Am I catching that
Right.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Start with augmenting, and then you can, as it improves, you can always, tune it up and make it at 100%. But out the gate, it's always a risk. And
Mm.
day-to-day business is just as important as well as trying new things. And so play that with a fine battle. But I think there's a lot of cool things that people can leverage and do and test. But just be cautious along the way.
Oh man, I'm surprised to hear you say that. It's interesting because you're so technology prone, but you're also saying you're aware of the risks when it comes to implementing it and being too quick on the
Uh,
draw.
uh, Oh, 100%. I mean, I think at the end of the day, sometimes making big drastic changes can switch the momentum in a negative way.
Mm,
And, think about a roller coaster. It's a hard process to make it up to the top. But if you make a change, you're starting back at the bottom, and think about that roller coaster ride again, right?
mm.
And that drop off in testing something new, is it worth it? And, you just need to evaluate the risk potential of it. If it doesn't work the way that you want, what are you doing in the meantime?
Right, right, right. Now, in terms of what you notice in terms of patterns that a lot of companies need to implement automation and AI, but aren't right now, aside from customer service, what are some of the other things that you've noticed that, people need to be implementing AI that it's not going to be too rushed or too fast, the technology is ready, that the risk is relatively low compared to the potential yield? What are some of the
Uh,
patterns you've noticed?
the biggest pattern is focusing on the things that people are not focused on today. That's the least path of resistance, right? Well,
Mm,
if no one is responding to the text messages, yeah, go ahead and throw AI there because no one's responding to the text message anyway. So what's worse, it's better to have than not have. And
right.
so that's what I always look at, not trying to solve for something that is working consistently or working well today.
Mm.
I think those are the ones that you can baby into over time. But you just have to be cautious because it is a big risk of trying something new. But if you put your eyes on areas that no one's touched, no one's exposed, but it's a problem, you can get up to speed a lot faster there.
Mm. So you're saying to not base the AI or the automation off of what you want. You're looking at the problems that you already have, the existing issues that you're facing, and
I'd
to
say
think
the problems that you generally ignore. You
that you
know it's a
generally
problem
ignore.
that you just
But it's like, it's a pain in the ass to deal with that. So I'm just gonna
yeah,
kind of shove it under the rug for now.
yep. And I bet you those are the ones that you can implement something and probably, make a lot of money on the back end because you plug that gap.
Can you give me an example in terms of something that you would automate that people generally want to shove under the rug but aren't taking care of right now? A
Well,
typical.
100%. I mean, the first one is at the front door. When people text you, are you responding back within minutes?
Mm, mm,
If somebody calls you after hours, are you, keeping up with them because no one's there? Um, just small things like that can be meaningful to your business.
mm. Because you got a lead that's hot and ready, but you're not able to get in touch with them because you don't have somebody there to deal with that.
Yeah.
Shit, interesting. What's another thing that you noticed? And we'll end it with this, as I got my Facebook going off here because I freaking didn't mute it.
No,
We'll end it with this, dude. What's another thing that if I were to ask you that would provide the most value would be the answer to that? What question, what could I ask you that would be the most value providing thing that I could get out of you?
No, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I like to tell entrepreneurs is to move fast, be agile, and just go. Don't try to build something on the side and try to make it perfect before you show it to the world.
Mm,
I do think it's getting it out as fast as possible so you can figure out what to change and tweak. There's no such thing as perfection because when perfection means that you're finished, and
right.
nothing should be ever finished because the world is constantly changing. So the faster that you
Mm.
get it out, the better that will be. You're not going to be able to make it better just sitting in your, in your office or in your basement, just plugging away, trying to build something.
Feel like that's a mistake a lot of people make, man. It takes courage to pull the trigger, get it out there, and get feedback from the market instead of just trying to do it all in your head. You can rehearse it, you can play the situations out, but when it comes down to actually getting the market feedback, there's only one way to do that, and that's by pulling the trigger.
Yeah,
Man,
100%.
how can somebody who's watching or listening, reading, can get in touch with you? How can they implement how can they first of all get into that Zoom room so that they can talk with somebody? And then how do they
Yeah.
go about business with you?
Yeah, our website is gohighlevel.com. Feel free to check it out. We have a 14-day trial, and as soon as you sign up to a trial, you'll get all the details in going into the Zoom room and being able to communicate with our team. But you can always reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, really all the channels. You can just search Robin Alex. There's not a lot of people like that. You can message me there, or you can shoot me an email, robin@gohighlevel.com.
Love it, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for being so open with me. We had a great conversation. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, Kyle.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that podcast episode. And if you want to get a free copy of my book, go to kylesbook.com and you can get a copy there. I'll talk with you soon.